Hi, my name is Bai Shun, and I'm a sophomore at Troy High School, and I'll be teaching you guys for today. And today we're going to be learning about regular expressions. So, what are regular expressions? Um, so today we're just going to learn about the basics, identities, and regular expressions in practice, and then we're going to do some practice problems. Okay, so first, the basics. So the following is wait, sorry. Okay. The following above is an FSA, and this here is there are three states, A, B, and C. The first state is A, the second one is B, and the last one is C. That's why it starts from here to here. Sorry. Okay, and then the next part is, okay, so first we start from A, and then it has an X going in an arrow from A, and then it goes to B, and then it goes to C. And what it's saying here is that there needs to be an X on the way from A to B, and there's an arrow on top of a curved arrow, and it's going from B to B. So there's more optional X's that can go behind that X, and then the B goes to C, and in that arrow there's a Y, and then there's a curve of Y's. So there has to be at least one Y that is here. So as it says here, it's the FSA above will accept strings composed of one or more X's because there's an arrow of X followed by a loop of X's and then Y and then a loop of Y's. And that's why the examples of strings that are accepted by this expression are XY, XXY, XXXY, Y, and XYYY. So does everyone understand this? I'm going to share screen on my... Are there any questions about this? No? Okay. So let me share screen on my other. Okay. Okay, so here are the basics. So these are the following rules. So there's a null string that is a RE, and then there's also, like, for example, if any string was in the alphabet, then it is an RE, and if A and B are both REs, then so is the string built up following it. And this will make sense in a second when we do the practice problems. And concatenation is just like, for example, an A followed by an B, like A and B put together, and then a union is A union B. What are you? Or is there a question? No, okay. And it could be also there could be a line here that you could draw that also means A union B. So it's just basically A or B. And then closure is A asterisk, which is a repeated 0 or more times, and this is known as the clean star. So this is what we saw before in the curved arrows here. These are basically clean stars. This arrow represents what a clean star. It can be 0 or more times. So do these rules make sense to everyone? Yeah. Okay. So let's continue. So the order of precedence is the following. So we start with clean star, and then we move to concatenation, which is A plus B, and then union, which is A or B. And then it's similar to standard algebra where and we can see that here where when we have DCA asterisk B, it generates strings like DCB, DCAB, DCAB, and so on. There can be any number of A's because remember the clean star is 0, but in DC parentheses CAB asterisk B generates strings like DB, DCAB, DCA, DCAB, and so on. because here we can have 0 or more CAs. So does that make sense to everyone? Yeah. Okay, so let's keep going. Okay, so these are the identities of regular expressions, and you don't really need to memorize it. It will make sense when you do it. But yeah, here are the identities. So like this a closure, a number of closure times is just equal to a closure, and then a closure a closure is equal to a closure a, which is basically concatenation, which means like what this string is saying is that there has to be one a followed by 0 or more a's, and what this one is saying is 0 or more a's followed by one a, which are basically the same thing. And then a union re, remember re is just a null string, is a asterisk because it can be 0 or more a's, because here there's 0 and then here there's one a and then at least any number of a's more, so then it's 0 or more a, which is a asterisk. And then a parentheses b union c is basically like the distributive property where it can be equal to ab union ac, and then ab parentheses ba asterisk is equal to ab a asterisk a. And here we have just some more properties that when it will make more sense when you actually do the problems. Okay, so let's keep going. Noah raised your hand. Do you have any questions, or was that an accident? Oh, it was an accident. Okay. So here is regular expressions in practice. So these are some like patterns that we'll have to memorize. And while we're doing these problems, we can look back on these like to double check. But basically, these are going to be like when you do a problem, I'll show you as an example, like this problem, you have to memorize what those symbols mean so we can actually attempt these problems. So the vertical bar separates alternatives. The asterisk indicates 0 or more occurrences, or it's the Kleene star. The question mark indicates 0 or 1 occurrences of the preceding element. So here they have an example. Colo question mark R can be either COLOR or CLOUR, because the U can appear 0 or 1 times. And the plus sign indicates 1 or more occurrences of the preceding element. So AB plus C matches ABC or ABBC or ABBC, and just not AC. So it's basically the same as the Kleene star, the asterisk, but it has to start with 1 instead of 0. And dot is a wild card. It can match any letter or any character, as we see here. And then the brackets expression matches a single character that is contained within brackets. So for example, ABC matches A, B, or C, and A through Z specifies any lowercase letters. So for example, when we see this, it can be either A, B, C here, or X, Y, or Z, because there's a dash mark which just presents the letters starting from X and ending in Y. And then the exponent symbol matches a single character that is not contained within the brackets. For example, the exponent ABC, it matches with any character other than A, B, or C. So it could be like D, E, F, and so on. And then like here, this means that no lowercase letters can be used in that expression. And then parentheses, again, define a sub-expression, and they're just like math. They follow math, where like have to just follow the and solve for the part inside the parentheses, and then for the outside. So do all of these patterns make sense? Yeah. Okay, so let's try some sample problems. Okay, so I'll do this one with you guys first because it's like new right now. So here is a like a chart and we need to make a regular expression from the following. So how do we do this? So we go into the first bubble and there's nothing, so we don't do anything. But then we see here there's a 0, and because it's along an arrow pointing to the next one, we know there has to be a 0, right? So then there'll be a 0. And then we see a arrow rotating from the 0 to itself, which means we can have any number of ones, right? Because we could go here or we could go here and keep going here. So it's just any number of ones. So this will be the 1 asterisk. And then again, we have to go to the next spot. We know we have to get a 0. So then it'll be a 0. And then to go to the next spot, we know we have to get a 1. So it'll be a 1. So this will be the answer. Are there any questions about this? No questions? Okay. So then let's move on to the next question. Which of the following strings are accepted by the regular expression 0, 0 asterisk 1 asterisk 1 union 1, 1 asterisk 0 asterisk 0? So what union is saying here is that it can follow either this expression or this expression. And it's like or, remember, union is equal to or, so it just has to fall into one of those categories. So let's go through each of these strings and test them. So we see that this one starts with a 0, so we know it has to fall into this one because the other one starts with a 1, and that would be impossible for this one to fall into, so we'll test this one. And then it's a 0 asterisk, so it could be any number of zeros, so all of these zeros would fall into the 0 asterisk. And then we know there's a 1 asterisk followed by a 1, and this is also equal to a 1 asterisk, remember, according to our identities. So then we know that this one falls into this one, and then all of these ones fall into this asterisk. So we know that this regular expression accepts A. So now we can test B. So B, we see that it starts with a 1, so we know we have to test out this expression now. So we start with the 1, and it is accepted, and then it has a 1 asterisk. It can be 0 or more ones, which means that even though there's a 0 here, it can still be accepted because there could just be 0 ones. So then we keep going, and there's a 0 asterisk 0, which we can also turn into a 0 asterisk. And then that one would be followed by this 0. And then we have a 1 here. And that doesn't work, right? Because there's no ones following the back of this expression. So B would not be accepted by the FSA. And then 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. We can check here. We have to check in this expression again. So when we test for 1, we put it here and it works. And then 1 asterisk, it works. But then we have nothing else in the string left to test because the 1 asterisk would take all of them. And then we have a 0 asterisk 0, which means we have to have at least 1 0, right? And there are no zeros left in the string, so this string will also not work. And then let's test D. So it starts with 0, so we know we have to look in the first part of the regular expression. And the 0 matches with the 0, and there's an asterisk, so it could be 0 zeros, so that would be taken out. And then we have 1 asterisk 1, which means it's at least 1 1, and we have that here, so these 2 ones are gone. And then we have a 0 left, and we notice that here there's a 0, but here there's no zeros anywhere to be found, so then this expression is not going to work. And then lastly, when we check 1 0, we can go into we have to go into the following. Let me erase what I wrote so it's easier to see. When we have 1 0, we start with the 1, right? And we have a 1 here, and then there's 0 or more ones following that, and that's okay. That's still accepted because we have 0 or more ones here. And then we have, again, this is equal to 0 0 asterisk, which means that we just want one or more zeros following the 1. And we have that here. So E will also be accepted. So in this question, A and E are the following strings that would be accepted. Are there any questions about this? The U is union, which means or. So when we have a string, it just has to fall into one of them. Yeah, that's okay. So that makes sense, right? Okay. Are there any other questions? No questions? Okay, then let's continue. Sample problem number 3. Okay. So this one has our expressions. So then let's first interpret what the regular expression is asking of us. So first, it can be letters A, B, C, or D, right? That's what the dash means in the bracket, capitalized. And it's an asterisk, so it means 0 or more of these letters, followed by 0 more of A, B, C, D, followed by 0 there's no asterisk next to the 0 through 9. So we know there has to be one 0 through 9 last. And it'll be difficult to write it all out, but you guys get what this means, right? So let's look at our strings. So A, B, C, D all follow into the first brackets, and that's perfectly okay. So then these ones would be used up. And then now we know we can have 0 or more of the lowercase a, b, c, d, and since we have none, it's still okay because it's 0 or more because there's an asterisk. And then we want a digit last, and we have that here with 8. So this one will be accepted. And then A, B, C, D will also be accepted because there's 0 or more of the uppercase ones, so that will be accepted. And then we have 4 of the lowercase ones, and then we have a digit, so that will work. And then, so let me draw a check mark. Then uppercase AB, lowercase CD, 9 also works because the AB go into the first bracket, the lowercase c and d go into the second bracket, and then 9 goes into the last bracket. So this one works. And then uppercase A, lowercase b, uppercase c, lowercase d, 7 does not work because we see here the uppercase A goes into the first bracket, the lowercase b goes into the second bracket, but then the uppercase C has nowhere to go because now we need a 0 to 9. We need a digit. So this one will not work. And then X does not work because it doesn't even fall into A through D. And then lowercase ab, when we start with that, it might work because there could be 0 of a capital ones, but then we see that it's followed by capital ones, which doesn't work because now we are looking for a digit. So 6 is not going to work. And then uppercase D, C, C, B, 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 lowercase a, followed by 5 will work because these letters go into the first bracket, these letters go into the second bracket, and these letters go into the third bracket. So then 7 will work. So here 1, 2, 3, and 7 work. And someone, Dylan, in the chat typed that, so that's right. So are there any questions about this? Okay, no questions, so let's continue. Okay, so which of the following strings can match the regular expression pattern of, I won't read it out loud because it's a little much to say, but which of the following will match this expression? So first, let's interpret what the expression is saying. So the uppercase H, there's no special thing about it, so we know there has to be at least an uppercase H. And the I question mark means there is either 0 or exactly 0 or 1 occurrences of I. So let's write that down. Or 1. And then G plus means one or more occurrences. H is also 1 plus, one or more of it. And then remember, the exponent means that not any of these letters. So we have not A, B, C, or E, I, O, U. Not. Okay, so let's look through each of these strings. So first, high B. So we have the H, and then we have 0 or 1 I, and then we have one or more G, one or more H, but then we have a B. And this is not going to be accepted by the brackets because, again, it's not A, B, C, E, I, O, U. So then this one is not going to work. And then H, I, G, H, S. Let's go through it. So the H works. But then remember, for lowercase I, we need 0 or 1 of it. And here we have 3. So this one is not going to work either. And then H, I, G, G, H, 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 capital C. Well, let's look at the H. Yes, this works. And then the lowercase I, 0, 1 works. And then there is one or more G's. There's one or more H's. And then we have something that is not lowercase a, b, c, e, I, o, or u. So this one will work. And then uppercase H, I, H. So we have H. This one works. The lowercase I doesn't works because there's 0 or 1. And then we need one or more G's following this, and there's no G, so this one is not going to work. And then H, G, H, E, we have the H, and then we need 0 or 1 I, so this one could be working because there's 0 I's. And then we need one or more G's, one or more H's, and then we need a not A, B, C, E, I, or O, or U. So this one will not work because there's an E. So this one also doesn't work. And then high D, we have uppercase H, we have 0 or 1 I's, we have one or more G's, we have one or more D's, H's, and then we have a D, which is not in A, B, C, E, I, O, U. So this one also works. And then H, G, 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 H, X. The H works. There's 0 I's, which works. And then we have one or more G's, one or more H's, and then something that is not A, B, C, E, I, O, or U. So this one will also work. So here, 3, 6, and 7 work. Yes, I see that people in the chat got it right. So are there any questions about this problem? No questions? Okay. Let's continue. So I want you guys to try this problem and say which of the following strings will match the following expression pattern. I think the point. Remember, the dot means anything. It's a wild card, which means it can be anything. The brackets means that it's contained within. So for example, the first bracket of ACSL means that it can be any letter within. It could be an A, a C, an S, or an L. Okay, so there are a couple different answers, so let's go through it. Okay, so let's look through this. So we have let's first interpret what the regular expression wants. So what here they're saying is it can be any number, 0 or 1 or 2, any number of capital A, C, S's, and L's, and then any number of anything that's not A, E, I, or O, or U, and then a 2, and then 1, and then it can be anything at all, and then followed by a 2. So let's look through this. Great. Okay. So first let's look at A. So we have A, and then the next one doesn't fall into it. So we know that A is the only one going into the first bracket. And then B works because it's not A, E, I, O, or U. And then 2 is also okay, and then 2 can be next here, and then 1 is here, and then there's a 2. But remember, there's a dot between 1 and 2, and that means that we need anything, just at least one character between 1 or 2, but it can't be 0 characters. So A is not gonna work. So C, A does not work because there's a dot, and dots require at least one character. So let's go to the next question. The next answer choice. We have ACSL, which will fall into the first bracket. And then we have anything that's not A, E, I, O, or U. And we could put the 2 there. Then we need a 2 right here. Oh, anything that's not. So we know that it will be 0 in this instance here. And then we have a 1. Then we need something after this and then a 2. So this one will not work. Does anybody have a question about this? A does not work again because we need a dot. A dot means that we need something between the 1 and the 2. So A will be wrong. So for the people in the chat, yeah, A is wrong. Okay. And then let's go to C. We have ACSL, which will go to the beginning. And then the 4 and the 4 can go into the not A, E, I, or U. And then we have a 2, and then a 1, and then the 2 will be what the dot is, and then we have a 2, so C works. And then we have CMPTR 212. This could work because we have first, it can be 0 or more of ACSL. So here in this case, it's 0, and then anything that's not A, E, I, or U. So this will all fall into that bracket. And then we have a 2 and the 1. And again, we need something between the 1 and the 2. So this one will be wrong. And then A202122, we have the A goes into the first bracket. And then here we have to be careful because we know that we need the 2 and the 1 to go. There's a 2 and the 1 here. So we'll save this for the end. So we know that the 2 and the 0 can go into the brackets of not A, E, I, or U. And then we have the 2 and the 1, and then the 2 will represent the dot, and then we have a 2. So E works. And then PGRMMNG21, we have 0 for the first bracket. And then all of this can fall into the second bracket because none of them are A, E, I, O, or U. And then we have the 2, which goes here, and the 1, which goes here. And again, we need something, just anything at all, and then a 2, which we don't have here, so F doesn't work. So the answers will be C and E. Are there any questions about this? Yeah, for this one, sorry, the question is kind of ambiguous, but it could be multiple select. So the answers are C and E. So let's move on to the next question. Okay, try this question. For these questions, what I recommend is you go through each element, each question answer, and see which one could be the right one. Because again, the question is kind of ambiguous and it could be one or more. Okay, so Roger got F, so let's check our answers. So answer, okay. A little question about it. Okay, so first let's determine what is this expression trying to say? Okay. We know that it has to start with a 1 and a dash and a 3, 2, 1 dash. So this is required at the beginning. And it seems that over here, every single number follows this rule. So this requirement is like eliminated because we know everything follows it. And then here it's anything that's not a 0 or a 5. And then it's followed by a 0 to 9. And then anything that's not 5. And then a dash. And then followed by a 1 or a 2. And then a 3 through a 6. And then anything that's not 7 through 9. So anything that's not 7, 8, or 9. And then it has to be an 8 following this. And then another dash. And then anything that's not 0. And then a 2 through 6. Okay. So which of the following are acceptable phone numbers? So I think to be faster, what we should do is check each condition one by one through each answer choice and then disqualify answers based off of that instead of going through each answer and going through the conditions, because that will be more work to keep track of. So for the first condition, we already checked 1-321- and every number follows this requirement, so that is good. And now we have anything that's not 0 or 5. So let's check the fifth digit of each number. So 1 works, 1 here works, 4 works, 9 works. Oh, we see a 5. This one won't work, right? Because we have not 0 and 5. So this number is disqualified. And then we have 3, which works. And then now we have anything that's 0 to 9. So it can be any digit. So we know all of the following numbers work. And then we have anything that's not 5. So now here we need to look through the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the 7th digit and see if it's not 5. So this one works. Oh, we have a 5 in the next one, so this one cannot work. And then we have a 4 which works, a 7 which works, and a 6 which works. And then the next condition is it has to be a 1 or a 2. So let's check. A 2 works. 2, 2, 1. They all work. And the next condition is anything between 3 and 6. So we can check this one. 3 works, 4 works, 4 works, 3 works. Okay. And then we have anything that's not 7 through 9. So anything that's not 7, 8, or 9. So a 4 will work. A 4 will work, a 0 will work, and a 6 will work. And then now we have now we only have one option, which is 8. So 8, 8, 8, 6. So this one will not work. And then we have anything that's not 0. So these 3 all work. And then 2 through 6. So 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Oh, we have a 1 here. 1 is not between 2 and 6, so this one is not going to work. 4 is 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. 4, yes. So C and D will be the right answers for this. Are there any questions? Okay, no questions? Okay. Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Try this question. Oh, sorry. The line, remember, it's the same thing as union, which means or. And dash means like something through something. So what it's saying with the A dash E is it can be any letter from A to E, which is A, B, C, D, or E. So does that answer your questions? Okay, yeah. Okay, so there is an answer of G, H, B, C that someone got. So let's look through it. Okay, so what they're saying here is, let's first interpret the expression. So what here they're saying is, first they want anything that doesn't start with DKP, and it's an asterisk, which means 0 or more of this. And then we need a vowel, A, E, I, or U. And then there has to be one thing that's A through E or L through T. And then question mark, which means that there has to be 0 or 1. I think, let me check. Yeah, question mark is 0 or 1 occurrences of 0 or 1 occurrences of the first one. So the thing that comes before it. So 0 or 1 occurrences of this. And then the parentheses is saying that it has to be an S or an ES or an ER. So that's what it has to end in, SER or ES. So are there any questions about the expression? No questions? Okay. So let's go through this. Okay. So the question is which of the following cannot be accepted? So we're finding is the ones that are not accepted. So let's go through each question, each answer choice basically. So first is dahlias. So dahlias, it's first anything that's not DK or P, which means that this one starts off with the second bracket because the first bracket is anything that's not DK or P, and D is obviously in DK or P. So then we're skipping the first bracket, we're going to the second bracket. So the second bracket is A, E, I, O, or U. And D is not in A, E, I, O, or U. So that means that the A will not work. Is there any questions about that? No? Okay. Someone raised their hand. Do you have a question? No questions? Okay. Let's continue then. Okay, roses. So first, anything that's not D, K, or P, and R follows that. So then R will go into that. And then we have a vowel. O is a vowel. And then one or more A through E or L through T. And L falls into this because L through T is L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T. So S falls into this. So it's the one of that. And then it's either S or ES or ER. And ES is in that. So then rose will work. Are there any questions about why roses works? No questions? Okay. So now we have lilies. So first we have 0 or more of anything that's not D, K, or P. So then L works. And then we notice that there's an I, but the I might be used for the vowels. So let's look ahead and see if it could work. Since there's another L and another A, it won't work because to just skip it here because we need one vowel and then something here. So the L, I, and L are going to go into the first bracket. And then the I will go into the vowel. And then the E will go into the zero of A through E because we want it to fall into the ES. And then that's how this one will work. So what the LIL went into the first bracket, the I went into the second bracket, and then there was nothing that went into the third bracket because it's 0 or 1, and then the ES went into the last bracket. Are there any questions about this? So Lily's works. No questions? Okay. So now let's look at aster. So aster, again, it can fall into either the first bracket or the second bracket. But we notice that there is multiple letters that come after in between the ER, which would go into the last bracket. So we know that we need it to go into the first bracket. Or we can test both out, but by logical thinking, we should assume that the A will go into the first bracket. So then if we put the A in the first bracket, then there's no vowels left. So then we can try the second bracket. So if we try putting A in the second bracket, then we have S and T. But we notice that, remember, the question mark means 0 or 1 occurrences of this. And since there's 2 letters, that means that this one won't work. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm assuming it makes sense to everybody then. So now let's look here. And we first have an A, which again could go into the first or second bracket. But since there's so many letters following this, it has to be in the first bracket. So let's put A into the first bracket, and Z will also fall into this. And then A will also fall into the first bracket, and L will also fall into the first bracket. All of this will. And then we have an E, which will fall into the second bracket, and an A, which will follow into the third bracket because it's 0 or 1 occurrences of this. And then the S will fall into the fourth parentheses. Are there any so E works. Are there any questions about this? No questions? Okay. So now let's look at irises. So again, we need to look at the number of letters we have. So we know that we want I to go into the first bracket and R to also go into the first bracket. And then I will fall into the second bracket. S will fall into the third bracket, and ES will fall into the fourth bracket. So then this one works. And then clover. C will fall into anything that's not D, K, or P. L will also fall into that. And then since we have so many letters left, we could technically try. Oh yeah, we have enough letters because we know ER goes into the parentheses, so we have an O, which should go into the for second bracket, and V should go into the third bracket. So O works, and then does V go into the third bracket? No, because it does not fall in between L and T or A through E because V comes after T, like it's TUV. So then G will not work. Then let's test lilacs. So L would fall into the first one. I will also fall into the first one. L will also fall into the first one. And then A will fall into the second bracket. C will fall into the third bracket, and S will fall into the last parentheses. So H works. And then violets, anything that's not D, K, or P, 0 or more instances of this. So V will fall into this. And we have a lot of letters left, so we have to put I in the first one. O will also go in the first one, and L will go in the first one, because we have to go until we reach a vowel that will be the second bracket. So then E would be the second bracket, T would be the third bracket, and S would be the last one. So violets works. So the only ones that don't work are A, D, and G. Are there any questions about this? No questions? Okay, let's continue. Okay, try this question. Okay, Roger got A, C, or G, so let's see if this is right. Okay, so first let's interpret what the expression is saying. So first we need one of something that's not S, and then a vowel, and then 0 or more of P through T, and then has to end with an S or an ER. So first let's do the last one, because this one will be unaffected by the rest of the words, let's say, like the rest of the expressions. So we can just test for this first and disqualify letters easily based off of that. So we have an ER here, so this one is fine. An ER, an ER, S, S, ER, S, and S. So we know that all of the following answer choices can fall into the last part. So now let's test the first. And we want something that's not S. So T works. Oh, we have an S here, so this one won't work. So B is definitely going to be one of the answer choices, and the rest of them all start with anything that's not S. So the rest of them will work. And then now we need a vowel as the second letter. So we have A here, which works, E here, which works, O, A, I, O, L. L does not work, right? It's not a vowel, so D will also be disqualified. And then we have U, which works. And then now we have 0 or more of P through T. So we just have to make sure all the letters left in the expression are in P through T. So T works. And this one has, deer has no letters left, which also works because it's 0 or more of P through T. And then O and S are inside of P through T because it's P, Q, R, S. Wait, no, O is not in it, sorry. Because it's L, M, N, O, P. So rooster will not work. And then S and T are inside P through T, so faster works. T is in it, which works, and bursts. Oh wait, we didn't. So we have R, S, and T left, and that is inside P through T, so these work. So the answers are going to be B, D, and F are not accepted. Are there any questions? No questions? Okay, let's continue then. Try this problem. Okay, so someone got an answer. Let's see if, oh, did it finish? Okay. Well, I'll help out for now because this seems like this problem is like a little bit different than the other questions, so it might be harder. So let's see. Okay, so for the first one, we know there has to be a 0 because to get from here to here, we have to go through a 0 no matter what. So it'll be 0. And then we have a loop of ones, which means that from here, it could either go through this loop or go to the next one right away. So we have 1 asterisk, because it could be any number of ones. And then now we have to have a 1 after this, because to get from this location to the next one, we have to get a 1. And then we have 2 sections. So we know that it is going to be, there's going to be a union of some sorts. So first, let's go through this top section. So in the top section, we're going to go through 1. And then we see, again, we have another loop of 1s, which means it's 1 asterisk. And then we're going to go through a 0, so it's 0. Then we have a loop of 0s, so it's 0 asterisk. And then we have another 0 that we must go through, so it's 0. And then we've reached this destination. So then we have to union it with the one below it, because this one will also reach this destination, and then we can go on as normal. So then we're going to write U, and then we're going to start over from here. So now we know we need to go through a 0, and then we have a loop of 0s, so it'll be 0 asterisk. And then to get to the next location, we need to go through a 1. And then we can go through 0 or more 1s. So it'll be 1 asterisk. And then we have to go through 0. And then we have to go through 1. And then we'll end the parentheses here. That's what the union of this part and this part was. And then now it's followed by a 1, any number of 1s. And then it's followed by another 1. So that's what the answer is going to be. Are there any questions? Yeah, somebody in the chat got the same answer, so yeah. There are no questions. Laura, you raised your hand. Do you have a question?
Is the brackets the same as the parentheses? Like, could you use the brackets instead of the parentheses?
The brackets are not the same as the parentheses, because the brackets, again, are like when we go to the past expressions. Let me show you the past questions. Remember, they're representing a different thing, and a parentheses is an expression is inside it, while the brackets is a little bit different because it's representing like letters that you can use. So does that answer your question?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay. Oh, parentheses is right. Okay, so now let's move on. Okay. Try this question. Oh, class ends at 7:30. Sorry. It's a little bit over time. So instead of doing this question, we can save it for later. It'll be in the Google Drive, so you guys can still like see this question later. So that'll be it for class today. Thank you for coming, and that'll be it.
Bye. Bye.